to strumming, I get to humming, bass gets to jumping, and we're moving along. When we get the feeling, my head starts reeling. Wow, there's nothing like singing a song. Clap your hands and start moving your feet. Join that band, you've got the beat. You'll see, with a diner's never been anything finer. From Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, we're in downtown Nashville, and Chevy's brought me out 3 years in a row, and this is always the spot where they have me play. They take over this whole block. It's the Schermerhorn Symphony Center, right here, right off Broadway. Beautiful building here, and they do this whole display where they have, this year they have a Corvette, a NASCAR, like a bunch of cool blazer. But this whole block gets taken over, and it's such a cool environment because what you've got is you have people coming from a Chevy stage to the bridge that takes you to the stadium. And so we've got music playing throughout this whole block, and I go on every 45 minutes for 45 minutes. It's super cool. There's usually people out and about doing things, a lot of fun, a lot of high fives. And then over here is where I get to perform, and you get to see my mug up here. It's great. I love it, actually. I get a nice view of almost the whole walkway. Some of Nashville. I can see Morgan Wallen's bar over there. I can see the rooftop over here. It's cool. It's a cool spot. I started DJing in 2000. I always loved music. I wanted to be a DJ when I was younger, as a kid, in high school, but couldn't really afford the equipment and all the things needed. So I just made mixtapes and CDs when I was a kid. Then I got to college and I went to a party where there were 2 DJs mixing on 4 turntables, and they were just crushing their set, and they had everybody dancing. It was crazy. And while people were just enjoying it and dancing, I was staring at them the whole time going, what do they do? I want to do that. And so the next day I went on eBay. I think it was just becoming a thing, and I found somebody who was selling a used pair of turntables, a mixer, a crate of records, I think even the headphones, and ordered it. Used my student loan money that I probably shouldn't have, but it worked out great, and I got the equipment and just started learning how to mix. I just did that for fun in college as a hobby, a lot of parties, house parties, things like that, a couple clubs. Then I moved to Boise in 2005 and started playing some lounges and clubs in that area. I eventually turned that into a career where I was in TV news, I was a news producer, I was a videographer, but I didn't really love my job. It wasn't for me, so I decided I'm gonna start a DJ business. So I leaned into that, started my business, worked 2 jobs for a while, like 4 years, and just tried to make this thing work. And I did. I became really successful, one of the most well-known DJs in my area, and I started to branch out on a national level, trying to get into conferences and do things, and started to grow. Once I started to see that I could do things beyond just the weddings in my area, I started to have a little, kind of like that little kid desire where like, oh, I can do more than just that. And then I started to get calls to do things across the nation. And then I've been doing some things around the world, and it's just really turned into this amazing realization of a dream that I had. And so it's pretty cool to be, when I go to places like Nashville here at CMA Fest, and I see myself not only DJing these cool events, but like they put my video up on this huge screen on the big stage, and I just look at it and go, man, I've come a long way.
Come on, say that you love me.
Yeah, so it's day 2 CMA Fest, and we have a lightning delay. It's 30 minutes. We're out here. They ran over and said, hey, we have lightning within 8 miles of this area. CMA Fest says, shut it down. So everything's covered, tarped, can't do anything. So we're waiting. We just heard thunder. It's been about 15 minutes since they made that delay.
Are you good with that equipment up there and that box being up there?
Feel so sad and blue. I miss you, pretty baby.
So Joey and I have been cousins obviously for years, but we lived in separate states. He's from Michigan, I lived in Idaho, and we never really talked growing up. And I just started finding out that he was playing music and going to Nashville and doing all these great things. And so through my other family, really got introduced to his music through Spotify. And then once I started mixing country and hip hop music together, I heard one of his songs. I really fell in love with it, called John Wayne.
Right.
And I was just like, I want to mix my cousin's song. And so I hit him up and I was like, I have this cool idea. Are you hey, it's your cousin Eric, long lost cousin.
Yeah.
And he's like, love it, do it. And so I posted it, and it did really well. Then I had a wedding here in 2022, and I wanted to play in Nashville somewhere, so I hit him up, and he plays on Broadway all the time, so I thought it'd be cool to play somewhere, and he has the connections and made it happen, and got me a cool set at Tin Roof.
Yeah, as soon as he hit me up with the song, and I looked at his Instagram, and I'm like, oh, crap, man, like he's blowing up like crazy. And then he asked if he could do a remix. I'm like, yes, please. So he did that. And then when he told me he was coming to town, I just jumped on it of wanting to get him something here, and so he could play for people.
You're in it. You know how bands show up to these things and how they interact with fans. And I'm new to this. I'm like the wedding DJ guy, kind of exploring this new world.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, you need stickers, you need a step and repeat, you got all these things like merch. And so I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get all these things. So we're like working together and make all this happen. I've been with Chevy for the last 3 years, doing this big installation and other things. And this year they just said they were doing some artists here at the stage that I'm at, and I instantly thought of Joey, so I connected them, and I'm glad this worked out.
I'm gonna kick it off with a sing-along. Is that cool? All right, you guys help me out. I blame it on my roots. I showed up in boots.
I think it's cool that, we kind of learn from each other with a lot of things, and full circle of, me helping you get a gig at Tin Roof, when you were here, and then now I'm playing here, the gig that you have, so it's like a connection of all the years that we never, lived in different states and stuff, and now that we're older and both doing something involved with music, being able to connect again and form a relationship all over again, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
You said, honey, we may be through. Come on, you'll never hear me complain, 'cause I got friends in low places.
Chevy and I are, I think, a really good alignment, especially with the side of me that does the country and hip hop, and I think the positive vibes and attitude that I bring to my social media page. I think it was a fun energy, and I think that was a natural fit when they reached out and wanted me to be part of CMA Fest in 2023.
DJ Eric Rhodes on the 1s and 2s. Let's hear it, everybody!
One of the things that I really like about Chevy too is that not only do I respect them as a company and the events that they do, but they also reciprocate that and respect me as well. And they respect my opinion and appreciate my input, and have brought me back out to not only these CMA Fests, but to other dealership events and such. So it's been a great partnership. I made a Spotify mix this year for their transport vans, and then they have this cool installation where they do a Chevy Tahoe time machine that people can go through, and it takes them back to 1995 CMAs, and they go on this little red carpet, and my mix is playing that I put together, and they're like, hey, we trust you to put together this mix of 95 CMA artists and a little bit of mix of 95 pop music and some of our Chevy artists. I'm excited to keep it going because I think that's a good brand that I want to align with. It just feels right, and I just appreciate that.